let's start today's session. I want to start with introducing SHARAN. SHARAN stands for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection to Animals and Nature. And this is a beautiful organization started by Dr. Nandita Shah, who is a pretty unique doctor because she only prescribes food as medicine. She never prescribes medicine. Okay, interesting, right? So I had severe acidity and I happened to go to a program of SHARAN. It was a film screening and I changed the diet and literally in 3 days, my acidity disappeared. This was about 7 years ago, sorry. And I lost about 17 kilos of weight in 8 months. 17 kilos of weight. I have a 20-year-old daughter. We share our clothes. She doesn't like it and I love it. Okay, so that's just some of the lovely benefits I have personally experienced. And my husband's cholesterol tablets have stopped. My parents' diabetes and blood pressure medicines have stopped. So these are just some of the few changes. So without much further ado, let's start today's smoothie with SHARAN with a very, very special guest. And I had the fortune of having a brief chat with her yesterday, and I was already floored. It was such a pleasure speaking to her. She's so beautiful, and I feel it that she's beautiful inside out. And I'm sure you will experience that too when you see her today. So please allow me to introduce you and to have Pradaini, who is going to be who's a model, and she has worked for so many brands, and she's also a content creator. And in spite of being in such amazing limelight, she's able to stick to a wonderful and a holistic lifestyle. So Pradaini, welcome to Smoothie with SHARAN. Very, very excited to have you here with us today.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you, Raina. And thank you, everybody, for being here.
Great. Pradhani, so let's start from the beginning. Okay. Tell us, did you always want to become a model?
Wow, good question. No. I was doing one of the part-time jobs when I was in college. And there's this lady named Shobha, very famous in Chennai. She was the one who takes care of Miss Chennai. She came up to me and she said, would you like to be a model? And I was like, oh, I want to say yes, but I wasn't so confident to say yes.
Okay.
Immediately, I said, meet you. And then she took me on board for campaigns, and then one led to another, and then boom, I became a model.
So it just kind of walked to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how it kind of came my way, and yeah.
Sorry? So were you happy you took the decision?
Absolutely. I loved it because it's not like I went into it saying this is what I'm going to be, because I did a few shows and after that I became a flight attendant. Okay. So I was flying for about 4 years, and then I took a random break for about a year. Well, it was supposed to be a random break for 1 year. And the first 2 months I wasn't really doing anything much because as planned, it was quite random. And after that, I started doing a lot of gigs. I started working with different brands, and that 1 year got extended, and boom, here I am over a decade, just working with different brands, now creating content. So yeah, it's been a beautiful journey.
Okay,
it's been full of surprises.
Anything interesting that you'd like to share? Any interesting experience you've had working in the limelight, working as a model?
Well, I could tell you something funny. Well, the first time I did a show in Colombo, that was my first ever fashion show. And I remember I had no idea how to put on makeup, and I had absolutely no exposure to that. So when we don't have exposure, we usually just present ourselves and people, paint our faces. So I had my makeup on and I wasn't even looking at myself. They finished the makeup and we were rushing. And just before heading out, I went and stood in front of the mirror and I looked yellow. And I remember there was another girl with me. She was also new because there was a lot of foundation and we were not used to it.
Okay.
And both of us are holding hands. We're like, this is the last show that we're doing. I am not going to be a model. I am never doing this again. It was so uncomfortable because sometimes we're not comfortable in our own skin and we're not used to something. And there's this huge exposure and then there's this huge ramp that I have to walk. I've never done it before. And at that point, with all the fear, the easiest decision is to give up. We're like, okay, this is the last. I'm never going to do it. Somehow we found comfort in saying this is the last show. But when we walked that ramp, we loved it so much. That was not the last show. So yeah, I mean, it's funny. A lot of funny things happen. We are put in different places where we are very uncomfortable, but then we sail through it, and it gets interesting.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it looks very glamorous and very, wow and all that. But I'm sure there's a lot that goes behind the scenes, right?
Definitely. In absolutely any department.
Yeah.
From the outside, everything always looks so much more smoother. It's how we want to present, but there is a lot of work that goes in. Yeah.
So how does it feel to be there in front, in the limelight? Or is it now become second nature to you?
Well, I would say at the moment, because I work largely as a content creator, right now I feel like pretty much everyone who is willing to be in front of people, that is holding a solid Instagram account with a lot of content. I think everyone's got that exposure now. Getting that exposure, being in the limelight is not such a big deal now, is what I feel. But when I used to do a lot of ramp shows and work with different brands, it was beautiful. And of course, I was nervous working with different brands and so many people. There's always that jitters, but it's always beautiful, because that just the right amount of jitters is always nice, because it kind of gets you on that, it's been a beautiful journey.
Wonderful. Tell us about your content creation. What do you do? What do you? Why do you call yourself a content creator?
Yeah. Well, having been a model, I started getting a lot of offers to work with different brands, but on a social media platform. So people wanted me to create content, promote their products in my style. So as a model, I don't get to decide how I want something to be done. As a model, I'm just a model. I present myself, they do the makeup, they do the hair, they decide everything. But as a content creator, I get to decide how I want to promote a product. And I get to choose the products that I genuinely resonate with. And that's why we're called influencers. At the beginning, of course, the transition was very different for me, because as a model, I say yes to pretty much anything that works for me as a model. But I understood the responsibility over a period of time, having been an influencer. Because then I realized we are being called this because people are looking up to the information that we are providing. So then over a period of time, with all the learnings, I've started choosing brands that I resonate with.
Wonderful.
And then I create content in my style. And so I'm not forced to create content a certain way. I do it in my way. So there's a lot of freedom, and it's a lot at ease, and it's on my page, and it's nice. Yeah.
Right. No, I'm so glad that you brought this up, because a lot of influencers just do it to influence, but it's such a huge responsibility, isn't it, when we are influencing people? So if it's something which resonates with you and you do it in accordance to your values, that's what real influencing should be about, isn't it? So I'm glad.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been there also. I mean, when you say a lot of people, I've been there also, because at that point, sometimes we don't realize that's what I was talking about, transitioning from being a model to becoming an influencer. Because as a model, I've shot for so many things. I wouldn't even think of what it is. It's just a gig for me, But as an influencer, over a period of time, I understood the responsibility. And then I'm like, maybe not this, because this is me. I'm endorsing is nobody looks at me as she's just promoting it. Maybe this is something that's good. So I try to kind of connect with it a little more than I used to.
Well, aren't you losing out on a lot of opportunities because of this?
Definitely, yes. So when I made the transition from when I stopped using leather, there was this phase where I went through where I was thinking of it, and then I ended up watching a video. And right after the video, I went cold turkey. Cold turkey? I should say something else.
Vegan stuff.
Yes, vegan stuff. I decided to not have anything to do with leather. And then I stopped cruelty free. So every time I made a decision, of course, I do get calls for it. But then once you make a decision, I feel when you say no, you actually start feeling good about it. It's saying no the first few times. Yes. It feels like you're letting go of a gig. But actually, when you say no, then you're actually building some sort of like a core value. It's like, okay, I stand for this. I'm actually able to say no.
Right.
It's a really good feeling, because if anyone out there is finding it hard, I'm telling you, I've been there too. But we got this. We can do it.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. That's so beautiful because it's so easy to, get swayed about in the limelight and so many opportunities and so many things, but to stand forth for what you stand for and stand up for what you stand for requires a lot of courage. I can imagine, and I'm so glad that you've made that decision and you're
Thank you.
happy about it. And it's not
Yes.
that, and haven't you found a different tribe and a different world which has kind of emerged in spite of not, I mean, a different world, you get it. You're never left alone, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The more I started connecting with brands that I genuinely resonate with, the more I started attracting brands that I resonate
I
with,
resonate with you.
and different people, different communities. And
Right.
there's still obviously a long way to go. There's always room for improvement. I'm
Of,
always looking for ways to grow and what is it that I can learn from different people. So
right.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah. So it's just
yeah.
that courage to take that road a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
To
Of,
say yes where we have to say yes, to say no where we really, really want to say no. It
of
takes, yeah.
So tell me about your plant-based journey. That's also a very interesting journey we were talking about. So let's share it with everyone. How did you get into plant-based nutrition and then being plant-based yourself?
Okay. So when in 2017, I went to Shivananda Ashram
Mm-hmm.
to do my teacher's training, yoga teacher's training. Until then, I used to eat fish and it was a part of my diet.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in Shivananda Ashram for 30 days, I ate clean food, sattvic, so clean
What do
that
you
when
mean
I
by
walked out,
clean food? Like,
sorry,
what do you mean by clean food or sattvic food? Like, what did you have?
basically vegan stuff, like a
Okay.
lot of fresh vegetable and freshly cooked food.
Hmm.
I mean, that's what makes it sattvic. It's freshly
Right,
cooked and it's freshly served,
right,
and
right,
nothing is stored and nothing is served the second time. Everything is made fresh. There's a lot of
right.
fresh vegetables from their farm cooked and
Wow.
given to us. It's the food was alive,
Right,
alive in the right sense.
right.
And it was 30 days of eating that. I
Hmm.
made no decision to change. I made no decision to go back and start eating like this. None of it. I
Hmm.
finished that journey there. I got back home. I'm used to going out with my friends to eat
Of,
whatever I want to eat. But I understood that my body rejected the idea of consuming fish, eggs. It's not like I decided I want to do it. It's not like I made a decision on it. My body just rejected because of all the practices, also because I was doing a lot of pranayama. I was doing all the asanas. When all of this kind of not kind of when it all aligns, you
hmm.
start to have different perspective. So
Right.
that was my first shift. Even then I wasn't so strong about it, but
Hmm.
that shift just happened. I never went back to eating fish, but
Okay.
I didn't speak so much about it. I
Right.
never spoke so much about not eating fish, or I just never spoke about it. It was a part of my journey. I just moved out of it,
Yeah. So
and
probably you felt so
slowly I
good.
decided I wanted to let go of. Yeah.
Sorry, you felt so good and
Sorry.
you probably felt so good and clean because of the 30-day experience that you didn't want to put in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
After 30 days, I felt so different. My body felt so different.
Yeah.
I was sitting differently. My senses were different.
Uh-huh.
It's a very light feeling, actually. To put it simply, body feels light and agile,
Right.
ready to move.
Right.
Mind is clear because of all the kind of food that I've been eating. Plays a huge role because I'm not sluggish,
Right.
and then I'm not slow after eating a meal. All of this matters, right? This is how we understand what
Correct.
is it that we've been consuming. Have I been giving myself the right food?
Right.
Obviously I'd be able to see the difference. So I came back and I ate only twice a day, two whole nutritious meals, and it was just enough, no cravings in between. All of this made a massive change
Okay.
for me. So I understood that, body understood it. I just jumped out of that.
Okay. All right. And how did the dairy-free journey begin?
Yeah, so when this happened, I decided, somewhere at the back of my mind, I was like, okay, maybe, what? I wouldn't consume milk anyway. In the form of ice cream, yes, but that's once in a while. But curd was a part of my lifestyle.
Okay.
So I decided to go curd and cheese, of course, curd
Hmm.
largely. So I decided to go off curd one day at a time.
Okay.
So I told myself, see, I grew up eating curd. Curd rice was my staple diet. I know a lot of people who have just eaten, sometimes it's just curd rice for dinner. Curd rice and potato is like, oh my God, that was everything for me.
Yeah.
And then I decided, okay, I want to go off curd, but I'm not going to tell myself I'm not going to have it for the rest of my life. Because the moment I say that, it feels like, I'm not going to have it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That's not a good feeling. It feels like I'm giving up on something huge. So I decided I would take it one day at a time. Now, one day is not going to hurt. But even that one day at a time, I would give myself the freedom. So this is how I would do it. I'd finish my meal. And then I tell myself, okay, now I have the choice. The curd rice is right there. I have the choice right now. Do I want to have it? Then I consciously say, no, I don't want to have it. If I want to have it, I'll do it tomorrow. And that's how I started taking one day at a time, just to give myself the freedom. Because at that point, the belief, it had not kicked into my belief system. I was just going with what I was feeling very superficially, right? I was like, okay, I'm just going to take one day at a time. I'm going to say no to this today. If I want to have it later tonight, I'm going to say yes to that. So when I gave myself that freedom, it didn't feel like I didn't feel claustrophobic with that thought of giving up on everything, because that's how it feels. For somebody who feels like, okay, I'm not going to have this for the rest of my life. It's like, don't have it for the rest of your life. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to go one step at a time.
Right.
And then there was pandemic. At that time, I decided, one of my friends, she's a big influence in my life, Upasana Bijur, who was with SHARAN.
Yeah, she's taken
yes. And she was with you. So she spoke about plant-based lifestyle to me. And I would say plant-based diet. She said, no, it's not a diet. It's plant-based lifestyle. Right. So then she spoke about no consumption of oil. And she spoke about a lot of other things, and she spoke about this particular course in eCornell University on plant-based lifestyle.
Right.
It was pandemic. We were not traveling. I decided to put the money in, doing some course.
Okay.
That was the best thing that happened to me. The stuff I watched, what I understood, really some of them, not just from a health perspective. I feel like that also at that time I watched Cowspiracy and a lot of other movies that really kind of, there is no going back once you watch a movie. Right. You watch the movie, open your heart, be compassionate. There is no going back from there, because nobody can convince you. Then there is no one day at a time. Right. I don't need that freedom, because my freedom is in me being compassionate more than anything else. Absolutely. My freedom is not me knowing just one day at a time. Until then, I was like that. I was like, okay, I was going one day at a time. I was doing good. Right. But that is still only one day at a time. But when we understand what is really happening in the scenes behind, how the animals are being treated and how the animals are being slaughtered, just literally everything. And once we get to know that, once you get to see it, and I always encourage people to kind of be brave and watch it once. It's good to watch it. I did watch it, and then there is no going back for me. Correct. Then nobody has to convince you. Then you don't have to set an intention after that. Then it just becomes a part of you.
It happens automatically.
Yeah, just because we don't see it, we don't feel it, right? Because we know it, we hear it, but because we don't see it, that picture is not in front of us. Correct. It's okay to let ourselves watch it. Watch it once, just once. There's no going back, really. So that's
any documentary besides Cowspiracy that you recommend?
I watched Seaspiracy.
Seaspiracy, yeah.
That was crazy also. That was just unbelievable. Like it's, what do you say? And then, as soon as I turned vegan, I was this unkind vegan, to be really honest. At any given opportunity, when I watched somebody eat, I started telling them what's in their food. I started telling them, you're eating animals. You're eating animal. Okay. So I was really unkind. I mean, I don't feel great about it, but I'm telling you this because I think this is a phase that is quite possible. It can happen. It can happen.
Yes.
And I would tell people, you have to watch this. Make people watch some things. And then I realized I was being really unfair. That's not nice to do that to anybody, because I would not have liked it if somebody had done that to me.
Right.
And so then there was another learning to approach people who aren't where you are, who don't see what you see, to kind of deal with it with love and compassion, and just simply show them what it is. Right. And when they are ready, they're going to change. That's it. Yeah, that was another learning. There's just lessons after lessons, of course.
Right. So how has life changed with Pradaini, the one, I mean, the one who was having everything uh, and the one who became a vegan? What are the changes that you've experienced in yourself?
um, like I said, light. Body definitely feels light.
Mm-hmm.
Body feels clean.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I was able to connect a lot more to vegetables
Mm-hmm.
after I turned, because until then vegetables were like a small portion. It's like, okay, it's there. Okay, I'm having a little bit of vegetables.
Right.
Vegetables became like the hero of the plate. Colors became everything.
Right.
And I started enjoying it, knowing that I'm not contributing to anything that is causing any pain. And
Yeah.
I'm also, that's one way. And another thing is my body is getting so much nourishment from this food that I'm consuming, and it's so light and it's fresh. It really plays with your mindset. It really plays with the way you feel the entire day. And I could feel it. I could feel the change.
So when you go out with your friends or you go for parties, and how do you manage then? I mean, aren't you like kind of, bullied or looked down upon, or do you go through these kind of things as well?
Well,
Or
I
made fun
wouldn't.
of, rather? Yeah.
Sorry.
Or made fun of, maybe?
Yeah, some I wouldn't say anyone makes fun of this. I think people largely understand because there's a lot of awareness now.
Yes.
Sometimes people say, "Oh my God, you can't eat it. Oh, that's too bad, and you're missing out on something." This is just the other side. I could say the same thing. You have no idea what it feels like to be here, and
Right.
someday I can only hope that you would get here and to really understand what it feels like um, to really make a decision for others and not just for yourself, for other beings, and not just think of, okay, I'm just going to eat it. Because most people, I think, eat meat out of habit and out of, because your family has kind of given it to you and you eat it. And because this awareness of this what is really happening in the dairy industry, what's happening in the meat industry is not,
The
is
connection is not made.
that's it, the connection is not made and you don't get to see it. And when you don't get to see it, you're okay with it. There must be so many things that I am doing wrong right now
Absolutely.
because
You're
I
not
am
aware.
unaware of it.
Absolutely. Right.
Only when I constantly tell myself, okay, I'm open to learning more, I'm open to understanding what is it that I'm doing wrong. So every single time I
Mm-hmm.
was in a point where I would easily judge people, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, like I can say so much and there's so much awareness, it's actually unbelievable. Then I kind of use that opportunity to turn it into curiosity and really ask myself, this is what they're doing, and I can see what they're doing is, let's say, I'm not going to say wrong, let's say, okay, it's unfair. Then I
Right.
ask myself, what is it that I am doing that
Mm.
somebody else is seeing and they are unable to tell me? So I
Right.
ask myself, I want to see it by myself. And that's how I kind of call upon my inner self, because finding that connection within yourself, you find the inner guidance. The more
Right.
questions you ask yourself, the more answers you find, all
Love.
within yourself. So I kind of turn that into something about me, something that I should be effectively working on and changing. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
That's a beautiful way of doing it. I think I'm going to practice that because
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
so easy to kind of just, judge someone and everything, but we never look. I mean, the mirror should always be on our side, not the other side. So you don't have a problem when you're going out. How do you manage about the food when you go out? Is it very easy to, what about your curd rice? What's happening there? Are you
Curd
making
rice is
your
long gone.
long
No,
gone? But are
actually,
you
I,
making
I
curd
don't
rice?
even have curd cravings. I rarely eat peanut curd. I
Oh,
don't, the craving is out completely.
oh, okay.
So
So
right now,
you
it's
don't
just
miss.
I don't miss it. I don't miss anything.
Okay,
There
perfect.
is no missing. There is zero missing. There is, because that's why when I made that change from just wanting to go vegan because, okay, I want to eat clean, to understanding what's really happening in the industry makes a huge change.
Correct.
Once you watch what is needed to be watched, there is no craving after that. I mean,
Absolutely. It just
there's
leaves.
just compassion.
Right,
You
right,
replace your craving with compassion and you're just a completely different person.
right. So there's no problem when you go out. I mean, you'll be always able to find things to eat now, isn't it? And especially now with so much awareness. I'm sure you're not missing out on anything even when you go out. Or do you have any strategy? Do you eat,
Absolutely.
leave, or do you eat something at home and go, or do you ensure that the restaurant you're going has vegan options? How do you manage that?
Number one, I largely go to restaurants that have vegan options.
Okay.
And I have lovely friends, and they're all very open to trying vegan food.
Lovely.
And it's amazing, even if it's one meal, if it's somebody who eats meat, and if they can go vegan even one meal, it's still something, it's still a good feeling. It's like, wow, one plate of really good food for yourself and for the planet, two ways. It's like
and for the
right.
It's
a great thing. Yeah, of course. So it's like I do have friends who are wonderful, who aren't vegan, but they're very open to vegan option. One, when I go to my friend's place, they are so kind to always make sure that there is vegan option. They always ask me, you eat vegan? What is it that I can get you? What do you eat? Sometimes I've had people ask me, like, what do you really eat? And I eat what you eat, just no ghee, just no dairy and meat, other than that, the rest of it I eat, because sometimes people get confused. I remember I went to one of my friend's place, and she was so sweet, and she didn't know what to, she's like, I don't know what to offer you. Can I give you some nuts? I'm like, yeah, it's okay. That's good. Because people think, actually, I wouldn't just say people, even long ago, I thought being vegan is very challenging because you don't get to eat a lot of cooked food. I don't know. It's just a wrong assumption. You just think you're just eating raw vegetables, which is great. I know it's great now. But at that point, you're like, what do they eat? Yeah. I do remember at one point in my life where I thought, vegan, me, no chance. I don't think I can be vegan. I can whatever, try. And oh my God, I remember saying this to somebody. But today, after having understood, it's just been like, what, 3 years, I would say, hardcore.
Right.
If I just look back and think of how I used to make choices, it's crazy, because I feel like I've evolved so much in simply by simply developing this awareness and this compassion. I've become a completely different person in so many ways, because this belief system, just this core value, is not only towards plate. It's not just towards the food we consume. It comes in so many different places in your life.
Absolutely.
When you tap into that compassion, it's not just towards animals. You're tapping into it when you're speaking to a friend. You're tapping into it when you're speaking to yourself. When you're hurting, you're able to be compassionate towards yourself. When you have hurt somebody, you're able to approach it with compassion and love, and apologize the right way, and be emotionally available. So many things are connected to just one realization of just being kind towards animals and just being compassionate. There are so many things that are associated to it. Literally, just this decision will touch so many different areas of your life, and you won't believe that the kind of person you're becoming, the kind of words you say, how you're able to be there for somebody, how you're able to look at somebody with love, everything changes. You're just not the same person.
So totally resonate with what you're saying. I actually said that once as well. Vegan? No way. They're mad, And today I'm and I can't help. And I always say that I've seen miracles happen in my life after just this realization. And I so totally, I mean, you said it so beautifully, very apt. I'm sure all of us who are in this path can totally resonate with what you say. And another thing that I think going plant-based brings, and you do a lot of work on that, is mindfulness, right? So how do you define mindfulness, and how do you actually practice it in your daily life?
Well, mindfulness is obviously an act it's something that we learn over a period of time. It's not something that we listen to once and say, okay, you know what, my life is about to change because I'm going to be mindful about everything. It's in these small details. It's in these small details that we learn. When I make a decision, because throughout the day, every step that we take, there's a choice that we make. So every step, there is an impact somewhere. And when we choose to be mindful, I am going to choose this. Let me understand what kind of an impact this can have on other things. At the beginning, it will start with what kind of an impact it has in you, within you, without you, people around you. This is what your focus would be on. And then slowly, you get comfortable and you start to spread that light. And then you're able to not just think of yourself, not just people around you, then you're able to think of the second circle. Then you're able to think of the third circle. And that's how we slowly kind of, it's this very beautiful, precious light that you slowly grow. You let this light grow. And that can happen with simple choices that we make every day.
So how do you do that? How do you do it? I mean, how is there anything that you could tell our viewers, like how can they start this practice? Of course, being aware, and the diet plays a huge role in assisting or enabling, or helping you do it faster. But suppose you're still there, and what is it that they could add in?
Okay. Well, to begin with, when you said suppose you're still there, I would say I'm still there also. I always feel like I'm a beginner in this also, in this journey. I'll just tell you some of the things that I do. Mm-hmm. If there is something that I feel, I actually make sure to sit with it and really try and understand what is it that I'm really feeling. There, I'm being mindful about what I'm feeling, right? Let's say there's a situation where I have said something to somebody, or somebody is saying something, and there's like a conversation happening, and it's so easy to sometimes get distracted or deviated. There are so many things that can play this role of distracting us throughout the day. But in that moment, I know I'm getting distracted, but I'm going to bring myself back. This is mindfulness. Okay, I'm going to go away. Yeah, like I'm looking away for like a split second, but I'm going to come back to you. This is mindfulness. So in small ways, I keep practicing this. If I'm speaking to my mom, for instance, if I'm on the phone, which I am most times, and when my mom's talking to me, it's so easy to speak to our parents or people who we are used to, our friends, when we're looking at the phone. Yeah. But in that moment, if I make a choice to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to put my phone down and I'm going to look into your eyes because I want to respect you. Actually, I love you so much. I'm doing this because I think it's okay. Maybe it is still okay. Yeah. Maybe it is still okay. Maybe you don't mind. Maybe I don't mind. And it's not a big deal if I look at my phone and still talk to you. But I want to change that. That's mindfulness. I choose to put this phone down to look into your eyes. Right. I choose to look at the person who's talking to me. I choose to, and that's how the practice of eating the right thing comes. Like, there is something in front of me. Okay, I'm craving it. Let's say it's like a bag of oily chips. This is what I'm craving, but then I'm going to be mindful about it. I'm going to choose to not feed myself this. Maybe I can give myself something else. Or if I still want to have it, maybe I'm going to be mindful and maybe just take two. This is just, everything is a journey, right? There's no right or wrong.
Absolutely. Right.
But before we do something, pause for a moment, because everything is a choice. What you do is your choice. And if you start taking responsibility for every little thing that you do, then you know you are exactly where you are because of you, and not because of anybody else, and not because of a situation, not because of anything, simply because of the choices that we have made. And that is where this concept of mindfulness comes into play, because then I'm mindful about what I say, mindful about what I eat, mindful about how I respond, because I have a choice. I have a choice to react. Correct. Because if in a situation, if I'm thrown in a situation which, let's say, I don't like, I would believe that I have every right to react. But I also have a choice to be mindful.
Right. Correct.
It can be a tougher decision, but I would rather be mindful where I'm nice to it's not about being nice. I'm compassionate towards myself, because if I'm going to react, I don't know what I'm going to end up throwing at you, which I will have to come and fix later on. Right. Instead of creating that effect, if I could pause and ask myself, okay, I'm making a choice, and this does not mean you suppress what you feel. This simply means at that moment, I'm going to be mindful about what I tell you, but I will still sit with my emotion, and maybe I will come back to you with it later. But right now, I do not choose to react, because then it becomes a blame game, and then that can just build into something else, and that's never ending. And if you really choose,
how do you reach to that stage of being aware, and then pausing, and then being mindful? Is there something that is there some practice, or it just comes with a lot of self-reflection? Like, how do you reach? Many times we are aware, but we get into the flow and we forget the pauses, we forget the pauses. So what do you think helps you get that pause, or to reach that level?
Okay. It really starts with the smallest practices. And so if you look at it this way, when there is a challenging situation, and let's say in a challenging situation, this is how you will react. This is what you would do, right? Now, every day that you the challenges are different.
Correct.
One fine day, there's a bigger challenge, right? So one fine day, just because we have heard it in theory, we are not going to be able to respond
Correct.
in a way that is mindful. You can't put me, I can't be a particular way all these days, and one day in a crazy situation, really choose to be mindful. It's impossible.
Right.
Because I'm going to do what I'm used to doing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm used to doing is all the small choices that I've made every day.
Correct.
So really, it can start with the smallest of practice. We don't have to sit every day and look at, okay, what's my challenge today? What is it that I have to do? Mm-hmm. Instead, because we may not have challenges every day, right?
Right.
But at the same time, if there is a moment that's uncomfortable in the smallest way, let's say you drive and there's someone who cuts you, it only takes a moment to say, yeah, what the hell? You have not done anything wrong by reacting like that. That person has not received anything wrong from you. As in, that person's not hurt, they don't even know. Right? Yeah. But in that moment, we build this bitterness inside of us. And the bitterness does not go away immediately. Because then you say it once, you say it twice, you say it a few times, then you say it every day when you drive, then it becomes a part of you. Right. We're all creatures of habits. Right. This is how habits are built. So let's say when you drive, ask yourself, what are the areas you can change? Every time you're doing something, ask yourself, how can I do this a little better? What is it that I can do right now where I can feel like a better person? When I'm driving, if someone's going to cut through, I'm going to say, it's okay. Maybe this person's in a rush. I have no idea what this person's doing. Okay, you know what? I'm going to let you go. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Tell yourself it's okay to let people go. It's okay. Because they have cut you anyway. Right. You're not going to be able to change that. And you don't want to change it. It's okay. Let it go. And this is how we build small practices. So in letting go every day, in smallest of ways, when I drive, I'm never in a situation where I'm abusing somebody. I'm never in a situation where anybody pisses me off. Nobody can piss me off when I'm driving. Wow. Because I have it under control. Right. I have it under control. I'm okay. You want to cut, you want to go fast, even if I'm in a rush. Right. Nobody can piss me off. That's it. This is just one example, one department. Right. We apply the same thing at work. If you go to work from morning to evening and you see the same people, some people have a certain reaction, some people are passive aggressive. There can be so many things you would be dealing with. Right. Ask yourself, okay, it's my turn to say something. Can I say something that's mindful? Can I say something that can possibly have a better impact on that person? Right. If it's not going to have a better impact, it doesn't matter. It's got a better impact in me. Exactly. That's it. So small choices. Small steps. Tiniest. And don't look at the whole picture. It's not like I've been mindful all day, every day. But in small ways, when we are, it becomes a second nature, and then
yes, exactly. Yeah. Wow. So were you always like this? I mean, were you always mindful, or do you think experience and diet and everything is kind of got you there? I feel like a lot of things need to come into alignment for us to really learn the kind of awareness that we all need. But it's all a part of the journey. And my journey, of course, I always say, I'm still a beginner. So when you say, have you always been like this? I have been whatever it is that I've been, this is where I am now. And I'm definitely way better than what I was yesterday, I think, So when I take one day at a time, it's not about how I've been, or I've learned a lot of things. And I'm sure there are so many things that I still do that are where I'm not mindful. And I want to learn. I'm curious. What are the things that I'm doing where I'm not, where other people are able to see, where I'm not able to see, there's this constant learning. Yeah. So I don't know if I am where I'm meant to be, but this is what I share is what I do. Okay. At least the areas where I'm able to make a change in my life. Yeah. So I can see that you have actually taken health, or you're living holistically, in the sense where it comes to your physical exercise, yoga. You even call yourself a yogini, so yoga is there. And when it comes to eating, of course, the whole food plant-based diet is there. And when it comes to the mental aspect, the mindfulness and the awareness is there. So it's kind of like as you rightly said, we are all learners and we have not reached there, and that's the whole journey. So you've kind of covered it in a holistic way, isn't it? At the moment, that's how I feel about my life, where I feel like
I love practicing yoga, pranayama, and I also understand, when I say yoga, I mean asanas, and that's just really one limb of yoga. And there are so many other things. The rest of the limbs is all about this, about mindfulness and so many things. It's about what we speak and how we choose to respond, and how we are able to, I wouldn't say detach, but largely stay unattached, if that makes any, I don't want to make it sound like it's so easy, but it all comes with practice. Yeah. It's
like a witness.
We're just witnessing this. Sorry?
Like just witnessing this.
Yeah.
Actually, I think
witnessing the journey. Yeah.
Witnessing the journey. Yeah. I think life is very simple. We only kind of make it a little complicated. If you just, is it?
Well, complicating it and learning a lot from it also. So we've got to learn. And how else do we learn? Because if it went the same way, if it's smooth all the time, we're not going to learn anything, or it's just we just end up getting too comfortable. So it's okay for us to be thrown off of our seat and put through different challenges. Then we really get to learn a lot from it. Okay, if I'm thrown off my seat, if I'm uncomfortable, that doesn't mean something's going wrong in my life. What is it that I can learn from this? Okay, let me see what it is that I can learn, That's how we build confidence over a period of time. And it's not like you are always going to be confident. That it's going to have its dips. You're going to feel different at different times. So what? It's okay.
Right.
Being compassionate to yourself is going to change that.
Right. So how's a day like in Pradaini's life?
I would like to talk about how ideally I would like it to be before I tell you how it is right now. But because I'm very proud of my pandemic, during pandemic lifestyle, I'm very, very proud of it because it was at its best.
Okay.
I would wake up at 4 o'clock. This is my pandemic lifestyle. I'd wake up at 4 o'clock, take a cold shower, and because it really changes the mindset completely. Waking up in the morning and cold shower changes the mindset.
Okay.
And I think it's such a beautiful way to start the day, because you're actually shaking off the sleep. You're transitioning from sleep is out, and then I'm going to do the next thing. So it's a really nice feeling, you feel fresh. So that's one. And then I would sit down to meditate. Two to three different types of meditation that I loved doing, that I would do that. Then I would take a break, and then I would start my asanas. And so by 9 o'clock, 9:30, I'm done.
Right.
And I've done so much. So the rest of the day, I had time to read books and learn a lot, It was really amazing. And right now, I still wake up early. I still take cold shower. I meditate and I do my asana. But the rest of the day, of course, because there is work.
Right.
There's content that I create and stuff. But the morning, first few hours is so crucial. Setting a morning routine can transform your life, because it has transformed mine. For me, this comes out of experience.
Right.
What you do in the morning, how you are in the morning, kind of sets the tone for the day. And that's why cold shower in the morning, if anybody's not used to it, you should really try it. It completely changes the game for you. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. What about then? You must be sleeping pretty early at night.
Ideally, I choose to sleep by 10, but off late I haven't been. Off late I've been sleeping by 11:30, 12, but I still wake up early. I still wake up. Yeah. I don't sleep past 6:30. 6:30. Even without alarm, I wake up. Yeah.
Pradaini, how do you balance it with the kind of lifestyle you have, or not the lifestyle, rather the work that you do? Probably has very random timing. There's no fixed timing. Probably involves a lot of travel, maybe even late nights. So how do you, kind of balance this and stick to what's so important and what is important for you and for your body? How do you manage to do that?
So the morning routine that is concrete stays no matter what.
Okay.
So when that is sorted, I know that's solid. And in terms of my food, I know that I'm going to have a smoothie. I know I'm going to have a colorful plate of, my food. So I will make sure I get that. So which means I make sure that there is groceries. It's always there. I don't think of it in the last minute. I make sure I'm loaded for a week.
Okay.
Right. If I'm going to eat outside, if I'm shooting outside, if I'm doing something, I make sure I can order from a particular place. So there's always this, one particular place that I would order from because it's plant-based, and it was easy for me to always order from there. And so when it comes to food, planning plays a huge role, because in the last minute, you can't think of, okay, what is it that I can do? And what is available here? Because you may still get vegan food, but we want to eat nutritious food. Want to eat a whole meal. That requires planning, and that can be done only if you put in that little bit of effort to say, okay, you know what, I've got this from home, or maybe carry something from home when I go outside, make myself a salad. Salad really does not take too much time. It's really you just take that with you, and if you have beans soaked, and just boil it, put it in that, and you're so sorry. It's such a wholesome meal in itself, you know.
Correct.
So
so so it's amazing that you can keep the morning routine on, and planning as far as the food is concerned. You're sorted.
Absolutely. And sometimes if I have late nights, I have late nights. I'm not harsh on myself. If I feel like going out, I go out. I want to be out with my friends, I do it. I feel like if you can have the morning routine in place, yes. Sometimes if I sleep late and if I'm not able to get up in the morning and do what I've got to do, it's okay if I delay it. But I will still somehow do that, because that stays, because I know that plays a big role in my life and the rest of the day. And it's okay to really cut yourself some slack.
Of course. I mean, we need to balance there as well, right? Not to be
absolutely.
That's being compassionate to yourself.
Not too rigid about, oh my God, now I have to get up in the morning. No, you don't have to. You got to tell yourself, I choose to. I choose to do this because I love my morning routine. And morning routine really starts the previous night. So if you know you're going to get up in the morning, you can't get up in the morning. And even if it's asanas that you're going to practice, even if you're going to go to the gym, you can't get up in the morning and start looking for your clothes. You've got to keep your active wear ready the previous night. That plays a big role. So everything starts weaving in together. And instead of trying to
mindful again, that's also being mindful, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just about making all the change one day, but it's really about, how can I change this? How can I change that in small little ways? And you will see, you will be able to connect the dots, and then boom, you're in a place where you actually are doing, throughout the day, you're doing what you love doing.
Lovely. I think we've learned so much from you, Pradaini, today. I mean, is there any aspect that you would like to share which we may have missed out?
Well, I'd say really listen to your heart and be expressive. I think you should, it's so important to be expressive. Self-expression can come in so many different forms. And it's so important for us to identify, how can I express? And it could be through dancing, through music, or deep conversation, or writing, journaling. Find your expression, because it can change your life, because you're constantly in touch with yourself. And that's a beautiful way for you to be in touch with yourself. And it's okay if you're unable to open up at once. Once you get used to expressing, you will know exactly how you want to express, and you will find a way to do it. The more you express, the lighter you become. And that plays a big role in the mindset and really how you feel in your heart.
Okay, that's interesting. So how does Pradaini express?
I love journaling. And I love talking. I love talking to people who are immediately involved in whatever I want to talk about. I love to talk about it, no matter how bitter it is, how better it is. I love to deal with it. Sometimes if I'm not able to talk about it, I really sit with it. I never let it go. I never push it under. I will sit with it, and I know I will be at a point where I know I'll be able to talk about it. And if it means forgiveness, see, all of this is self-expression. If somebody has done something that you don't like, and you say, it's okay, I'm going to let it go, it really isn't gone until you take that moment to really sit down and say, you know what, I'm going to choose to forgive this person. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. So no clutter even here. Just clean up.
That's the plan. Keep moving on, because we keep accumulating. It's not like it's always clean. We keep accumulating, but the beauty is in us understanding, okay, how do I cleanse that? What is it that I can do? How do I let go of thoughts that I use? There are so many unnecessary thoughts in our heads throughout the day, in mine, of course. And I'm like, okay, this thought is not even necessary. What am I thinking of? Okay, I'm going to let go of it. So I try to be mindful about it and be like, you know what, this is something that I'm going to let go of. It's not really helping me in any way. Yeah. So
what's coming up professionally? Anything interesting happening now?
Well, a few campaigns, and then I would be traveling soon, I think. And so, yeah, there's always campaigns that I'm working on, and it's always interesting. I love every campaign that I do. So, yeah.
Since this is Smoothie with Sharan, would you like to tell us about your smoothies? Like, how do you like? My smoothie today has pan and bananas, and it's yum. Okay.
Oh my God. What does it have?
Pan, the beetle leaf.
Wow. I've never tried that.
Oh, you must try it. It's yum. And the bananas are frozen. So, and just swirl it.
Frozen bananas is always amazing. It's like having an ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. So, your smoothies, what do you put in your smoothies?
So, greens, frozen bananas, flax seeds, dates, orange rind, a small piece of orange rind, which really changed the game.
Absolutely.
And yeah, which also I learned from my friend. I learned so many of this from her. Yeah. And yeah, this is it. I think I've said everything.
Right.
What else do I put in it? This is everything. Frozen bananas, it's just amazing. And whole orange and a piece of orange rind. Yeah. Boom, changes the game.
I'm salivating when you're talking about it.
Yeah. That's like my go-to smoothie. Other than that, I experiment, of course, with the frozen mango and
right. Yeah. So which greens do you rotate? I mean, do you have a different green every day, right?
Yeah, different greens every day. Like if I buy palak one day and then different type of spinach different days, and I rotate it. And it's not the same that I have the following day. I have like different every day. I make sure it's, so what I do is I make sure it's all cut and put in a box, and I'm able to just grab like 2 handfuls, different days. So I don't have to think of, oh my God, this is cut now, I'm going to have it again. Right. This is why planning comes into play. And when we have that in place, it's just like, okay, boom. Okay, today is this and today is this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And any of your favorite recipe that you'd like to share with us?
A recipe for smoothie, or what is it?
Anything else? Smoothies we've covered.
Okay, so this is something that I've recently started having. What I've started doing is I've started making tempeh bruschetta. If I'm saying it right, tempeh bruschetta. So I take tempeh, I slice it, and then it's just roasted. I don't add any salt or nothing to it. Tempeh as is. And then I top it with salsa and top it with some seeds.
Okay, nice.
Or a slice of cucumber or something like that, and then it's just so yummy. So there's no bread, but it's just like all protein and some yummy food that goes in.
Lovely. So I think we have already finished. Our time's up, but it was really a pleasure, Pradaini. And from all of us, thank you for sharing these little nuggets, which I'm sure even if we apply even 1 or 2 will take us more, will make us more mindful than what we were. So thank you so much.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to really share all the little things that I know. And I feel really good being a part of this.
Yeah, we're all learning.
Thank you so much. And
thank you.
We're all learning from each other, and it's beautiful. Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me here.
One last question I want to ask you. Anything particular you do for the environment besides, of course, the whole food plant-based diet?
Environment in particular, in the sense, what do you mean? Like the small little ways, or
anything particular? Are you segregating waste? Are you anything particular?
Definitely segregating waste. And so I went to Sadhana Forest last year, and I learned so much from there. I went there to volunteer for my birthday, and I really wanted to do something different, and I didn't want to do the usual partying. Right. I wanted to do something where it meant a lot more than just my birthday. I wanted to contribute.
Right.
I went to Sadhana Forest, and I don't think I have ever opened my tap with full speed ever again.
Yeah.
After I understood, after watching them use the water so mindfully, even when I go out, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's enough. And when I see anybody just open it, and when it's just running and they're picking up something, my heart just races so fast. I'm like, oh my God, we don't need to waste so much water. So that, I think, is a huge impact. It may feel like it's something so small, because when we open it, we always want to open it full when we wash our hands, but we don't need to.
Right.
And it's such a small thing, but it makes a huge difference. And I feel like if there's one huge change from my end that I have made, I think it's that water, definitely. And I picked that up from Sadhana Forest. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been there, and it's just an outstanding experience to stay there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Pooja's asking you anything particular for skin, if she may ask, like day-to-day routine or anything particular you do for your skin?
Well, so my friend who's also a doctor, my doctor who's also my friend, I should put it that way. So she has created like a couple of products that I use, which I really love using because it's made out of a tree bark. It's called piconogenol. I don't know if I'm saying it right. And that's something that I really like using. If you're saying, particularly for my skin, if you want to know, that's something that I use the most. And it's made out of plant, and that's what makes it amazing. And she's also created sunscreen with no chemical filters. Because sunscreen, we know that it's not good for us, not good for the environment, but she's actually created something that is reef friendly. You can actually use it and go into the sea, and it doesn't harm the sea animals, and there's no chemical filter. So this is also another mindful choice, and that's what she's working on, and that's why I really love going to her, because everything that she puts out there is, she's constantly talking about what it affects and how it's procured from where. And yeah, other than that, definitely lots of water. It's what everyone's going to say. Keep yourself hydrated. So you say, keep yourself hydrated and use the right makeup and not too much. just the right amount.
Where can we get it? Where can we get the name of the brand, or where can we get? Would you like to type it on?
If you check, you can actually check my Instagram page, and you will find it there. You will definitely find it on my Instagram page, because I promoted it. I put it out there because it's a wonderful product.
Lovely. Yes. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Pradaini. Lovely to have
you. Thank you so much. Lots of love to you. Lots of love to each and every one of you. It's been such a wonderful time. I've had such a wonderful time.
Same here.
Bye.
Same here.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.